Alright. God, I love the little, it's like 10 seconds, but, oh, it crushes me. Like, in a good way, but, not in a good way, but in a good way, but in like a, ow my heart, but also it's kind of ow that, anyways. I've been in such a science adventure mood lately. Like, this is one of those days where I wish I streamed this like every day, but I know if I actually did that, I'd lose my mind. And I don't want to lose my mind. So. Alright. It was almost July. The rainy season hadn't been that bad this year, and what little remained of it had already disappeared. Temperature-wise, summer had come a long time ago.
Natsu ka.
In other words, it had been almost a year since it had happened. And then one Saturday afternoon, if I stayed home, not only would it be hot, but Dad would be on my case about helping with the family business. To get away, I'd come to the area around Ikebukuro Station. A year ago, I could have gone to the lab, but with Suzuha living there now, I'd mostly stopped going. Most likely, what? At that minute, it was hard to find a place to study on my days off. It was too much trouble to go to the university. And the classrooms probably weren't open on weekends anyway. After a lot of research, I'd settled on spending my free days visiting this cafe near my parents' home and spending a few hours there. In fact, a lot of the other patrons did the same thing I did, buying a single cup of coffee and sitting there for hours on end. Some brought books, some brought computers. I chuckled to myself as I realized that I joined the ranks of the other normies. Doo-doo-doo! Where are you now? Oh, the usual cafe, right? I just went to your place and you weren't home. You did? Did my dad make a nuisance of himself again? It's okay, he gave me some barley tea. I have to go shopping, will you come with me? Okay! Thank you. Okay, I'll leave now. Wait for... that was my Okabe voice. Okay, I'll leave now. Wait for me. It's not really voices. So she went to my house? My family's business was called Okabe Green Grocer. It was a beat-up old store located in a rundown shopping street. The place was almost 40 years old. I really wanted them to rebuild it. My mind had wandered. Mayuri was going to be here in less than 15 minutes, so maybe it was time to call it a day. I'd worked pretty hard during the morning, so it wasn't too bad. I was a little surprised at how hard I'd been working lately. I could feel how having a goal gave me energy. I needed to get to Victor Condria University as soon as I could.
Victor Condria 大学か。
I was still in contact with Maho via email and chat. She was evidently busy with her research because she was always sleepy. C-E-B. Dude, I love Maho. I know I say it every time, but I will continue to say it every time. I took out my phone. I found myself looking for a certain icon on the home screen. It's not there. But of course, I deleted it myself 6 months ago. Amadeus. Was Kurisu doing well? Knowing her, she was probably coming up with some complicated theory or teasing Maho. It was also possible that she was visiting @channel and hiding it from Maho.
@channel.
That's right, Kurisu had internet access. So it would make sense if she accessed @channel. But given that...
アマデウスってネット掲示板に書き込んだりすることもできるんだろうか。
Kurisu had spent a lot of effort last summer trying to argue with John Teeter on @channel. That happened in the Alpha World line, though. Still, it meant that she was okay with posting. So there was a chance that Kurisu was doing the same thing, Amadeus specifically. What I'm sorry! Damn it, I'm fucking... I should have read those! Why didn't I read those? I believe... So the one that caught my eye, I'm gonna quote it, and I'm pretty sure this is what it said. I believe it said, "I want Fess to drool in my eyes till I go blind." I believe that's what it said. Same. If Amadeus had even temporary access to the network, then just maybe. I opened the web browser on my smartphone, and without it really expecting much, ran a search for a nickname I knew I'd never forget. Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha. It was the handle that Kurisu had once used. Also, this fucking music. I spoke without thinking. I bowed my head a little toward the other customers, who were staring at me coldly, and looked back to my smartphone. Amazingly, the search had turned up several hundred results. They were all comments on @channel. I took a look at the dates on the result page. Our oldest dated back to 2008. Those must have been written by Kurisu when she was alive. I never expected to see traces of her hair.
っていうか、投稿しすぎだろ。
I didn't realize she spent this much time on @channel. Her comments were spread out on a lot of different boards. Physics, mathematics, science fiction, oh, and of course, the occult boards. For example, in the science fiction threads, she had Jesus Christ. It's too early for this. Fuck. In the science fiction threads, she'd had passionate discussions about time machines. That super spooky anon. Hold on, what is that last one? All wrongs reserved. These names, man. But unlike in the Alpha World line, she never came out and denied the possibility of a time machine. Surprisingly, some of her comments seemed to be quite the opposite.
いや、意外でもなんでもないか。
After all, she'd gone through all that work required to write a paper on time machines. Compared to that, her comments on the occult boards were brutal. She would absolutely crush the arguments of anyone who dared to propose anything even the least bit unscientific. Supernatural phenomena like crop circles, poltergeists, and spontaneous human combustion. Out-of-place artifacts, the Mayan doomsday calendar, conspiracy theories about how human DNA has been brought from another planet. She broke them down and refuted them with a cold thoroughness that even drove away her own side, and if anybody dared challenge her, she'd leave them flat on the canvas. I saw a fucking meme that's like, when you agree with someone completely, but they're such an asshole that you low-key don't want to agree. Like, it's so true sometimes. It was just like Kurisu. Her comments offered so little room for discussion, it was aggravating to read them. Did she actually enjoy all this occult stuff? She put enough energy into this that I couldn't help but wonder.
いくらなんでも大人げなさすぎだろ。
The first time I met her at last year's ATF, I'd gone through the same experience. But after a certain point, the Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha comments suddenly stopped. The cutoff date was July 27th of last year, the day Kurisu died. Her last comment was a slightly too heated response to someone who was mocking Dr. Nakabachi's time machine press conference. Man, that's kind of heartbreaking. My chest tightened with the sensations of nostalgia and sorrow. I decided to close the browser. Then I stopped as soon as I saw her next comment. I brought the phone closer to my face and stared at it again and again. The date of the comment was December 1st, 2010.
これって、まさか。
Kurisu died in July of 2010. So this couldn't possibly be her. So who was it? Was it someone else who'd taken over the identity of Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha? Or was it... Since there was no trip code, I couldn't tell for certain. Okay, I can't remember exactly what a trip code is, and I'm curious enough to venture into this. An encoded string of characters that appears on a name appears next to a name on that channel. By entering your name as name, some word, you can use some word to appear in an encrypted form. That doesn't really clear a lot up for me. I guess I'm too stupid. I'm too technologically illiterate. Moving on. December 1st was just after Maho and Dr. Leskinen had come to Japan, and also about the time I'd encountered Amadeus Kurisu. After that, Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha commented at about a rate of once per week. I looked for the most recent comment.
昨日の夜じゃないか。
It was a discussion about relativity theory. So you're one of those people who thinks that the Michelson-Morley experiment led to the development of relativity theory? No wonder you weren't making sense. Go back to grade school, fool. Lol. No point in even talking to you, Lamau. Oh, that's funny. I actually know what the Michelson-Morley experiment is. It's one of those few things. She really did get foul-mouthed when she went on that channel. But then I realized that she'd said something similar to me face-to-face. If this wasn't some imposter, if this really was Amadeus Kurisu, I guess you could say face-to-screen. What a miraculous and yet stupid story. Did Maho and Dr. Leskinen know about this, I wonder? Probably not. Kurisu wasn't going to tell them. I couldn't help but laugh. Should I try to make contact with her? I wanted to see if this Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Amadeus Kurisu. And then I came up with a good handle. Salieri's neighbor? Salieri's neighbor. That's so great. Of course, this was a knockoff of Maho's ID. If Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha really was Kurisu, she'd have to notice it, right? Okay. Ooh! Talking that shit? I thought I smelled moron. It's true that the original purpose of the experiment was only to prove the existence of ether, but you can't deny that it helped Einstein. As a result, you can say that it formed the basis of his theories. Someone needs to go back to school, and it ain't me. Damn! Huh? Mic dropped. And there, it's posted. How about that? I wrote something deliberately provocative. And importantly, I'd mixed in some mistakes. Not to brag, but I thought I knew a lot more about Kurisu than Maho did.
あっさり釣られるはずだ。
Bait.
クリスならな。
Great bait, mate.
Karin?
At some point, Mayuri had walked up in front of me.
なんだ。もう来てたのか。
I'd been so busy writing my comment that I hadn't noticed. I've been too busy deliberately trolling on that channel to notice. I mean, he is quite literally trolling. And it's incredible. I hurriedly put the phone away and stood up.
じゃあ、行くか。ん？どうした？
行こう。
Mayuri and I left the cafe. Mayuri and I met up and headed for Tokyo Hands. When I stepped inside the air-conditioned store, I felt refreshed. If it was this hot in June, I shuddered to think what it was going to be like in July or August.
それで一体何を買うつもりなんだ？
商品宣伝用のポップを作るんだ。だからそれ用のカードとか蛍光ペンとか。
今年は込みまで同人誌でも出す気か？
違うよ。岡部製菓店で使うんだよ。
は？なんだって？
Just doing some free labor for your dad. Fucking cheapskate. My family business?
今日オカリンの家に行った時にね、おじさんとそんな話になって、じゃあマユシーが作りますって立候補したの。
おいおい。
My dad could be such a jerk.
お前がそんなことする必要ないんだぞ。
でもマユシーがやりたいからやっているのです。
本当にいいのか？
オカリンやおじさんおばさんにはいつもお世話になってるから。
じゃあ代わりに今度何かプレゼントするよ。
Such a... I know I say this every time. She's such a pure soul. I love her so much. She's such a sweetheart.
本当嬉しいな。
I took a quick look around and saw that they were selling a lot of things you could use for advertising. I decided to mostly leave the purchasing decisions up to Mayuri. She spent quite a while deciding what to buy. But, well, maybe because of the time she spent at May Queen Yanyan, her taste ran in the direction of cute and anime. I believe the word you're looking for is good taste.
ねえねえ、こっちのハート型のも可愛いよ。
Did I make that I feel like I made that exact same joke, like in the other version of this scene. I swear I made that I said that exact same thing.
野菜や果物を売るのにハート型なんてどう使うつもりだ？
I'm so creative.
例えばこんな風に書くのはどうかな。おっきな松茸くん、今夜のおかずに奥さんいかが？
You have no idea how happy I am Daru's not here right now.
あとは甘くてとろりん、早く食べてね、熟れたメロンちゃん。
Okay, she knows what she's doing. Come on, Mayuri! Don't say it, Okabe, don't say anything!
お前まさか知らないうちに誰に洗脳されたわけじゃないよな。ああ、いや、
Oh man. Mayuri looked confused and completely oblivious.
とにかくハート型のポップは不許可だ。うちが怪しい店に見えてしまう。
そうかな。可愛いと思うけどな。
可愛くなくていいんだって。
My original intention not to interfere had gone by the wayside.
そもそもこれ以上買っても絶対余るぞ。
My shopping cart was filled with cardstock of various colors and shapes.
これだけあれば当分困らないだろ。
そうだね。じゃあここまでにしよう。
We went to the cash register to check out. But since it was a Saturday, the checkout area was overflowing with shopping carts. Since it was going to take a while, I sent Mayuri to browse the toy section on another floor. I knew they'd have some stuff from one of her favorite shows, Rainet Kakaru. Mayuri looked apologetic, but did what I told her to. In the end, I waited a whole 15 minutes at the register. As an apology, I decided to get the present I'd promised her. She seemed really happy as she stared at the keychain. It was Upa, the mascot character from Rainet Kakeru series. I told her when she went over to the toy section she could pick out anything she wanted, and this was what she chose.
ウーパならもう大量に持ってるのにずいぶん嬉しそうだな。しかもそれって普通の緑色のウーパだろ？レアなやつじゃないよな。レアなのは確かメタルウーパだっけか。
The most popular and rarest of the Upas was the shiny silver metal Upa. For example, whenever there was a lottery for rare Rainet Kakeru stuff at the convenience stores, the top prize was always a metal Upa. Mayuri had told me at once that they sold for tens of thousands of yen at auction.
Chichichi.
This is where she's For some reason, Mayuri was wagging her finger at me.
違うんだな。これはね、緑のウーパさんだけど普通のとは違うの。この前やってた映画に登場した緑の妖精さんウーパなんだよ。
Come to think of it, there had been a Rainet Kakeru movie out in spring. Had Mayuri sat in a theater full of little kids to watch it?
緑の妖精さん？
映画のネタバレしてもいいかな？
いいぞ、どうせ見ないし。
今回の映画はね、バーチャル世界で悪のスーパーハッカーさんたちとバトルをするんだ。そのバーチャル世界が妖精さんの住む森なのです。スーパーハッカーさんはすごく強くてね、かけるくんもウーパもピンチになっちゃうんだけど、もうダメだっていう時にね、妖精さんたちが助けに来てくれるの。実はその妖精さんたちはかけるくんがお世話をしてた学校の花壇のお花さんたちだったんだよ。いつも優しくしてくれるかけるくんを助けるためにね、バーチャル世界でピカピカーンって光ってウーパと合体するんだ。それがこの緑の妖精さんウーパ。すっごくかわいいし、すっごく強いんだよ。まゆし、感動したな。そういう話に弱いんだ。監督さん天才だよ。
なるほどな。
It was rare for Mayuri to get this excited about something. I took a closer look and saw that the design was a little different from the standard Upa. I didn't know a lot about Upas, so I couldn't say exactly what was different, because you're not fucking looking at it, Okabe. It's like, it's not even a real thing, so I don't know much about it either, but you just look at it with your eyes.
このキーホルダーね、結構あちこち探してたんだ。すっごく人気があってね、どこも売り切れだったんだよ。まさかハンズに残ってるなんて思わなかったな。
ラッキーだったな。
しかもこれが最後の1個だったんだよ。今日は来てよかった。オカリンとおじさんには感謝しなくちゃ。
Mayuri took the tag off the keychain, got her house key out of her bag, and carefully attached it.
ねえ、オカリン、まゆしね、これずっと大切にするね。
おお、そうしてくれ。
You can't do this to my heart.
くれぐれも買って5分でなくしたりしないようにな。
It had happened before, after all. Like the metal Upa I'd won for her at Radican. Mayuri had lost it no more than 5 minutes after I gave it to her. I'd wondered if she had ever found it, I didn't really want to remember that time in my life, so my memory of what happened to the metal Upa was vague.
もう絶対になくさないのです。
The two of us started to head back.
オカリンのお店のポップ張り切って作るね。
ああ、その作業があったな。
I'd been thinking the job was done once we'd bought the materials. The real work actually began now.
俺も手伝おうか。
大丈夫。マユシーのセンスを信じてほしいな。
I believe in you, Mayushi! I believe!
ハートマークのポップを買おうとしてた時点でセンスを疑うぞ。
大丈夫だよ。
まあ、ポップを作ってくれるだけでもありがたいから文句は言わないけどな。
お母さんにメールしなきゃ。晩ご飯までには帰りますって。
なんならうちで食べてってもいいぞ。どうせ親父やおふくろが引き止めるだろうし。
どうしようかな。オカリンは今日はこの後ずっと家にいるの？合コンとか行かない？
最近は全然行ってないよ。
Last fall, when I'd been trying to become a normal college kid, I'd forced myself to go to as many as possible. But lately, I'd been so busy with my studies that I hadn't had a chance.
そっか。じゃあごちそうになっていこうかな。
My man is responsibly studying for his future. I'm so disappointed. Mayuri took out her phone and started to type something when... Her expression suddenly darkened. No. She stopped moving.
どうした？
You do not...
ついさっきね、楓さんからメールが来てて気づかなかったよ。
We do not like sad, Mayuri. We do not like
どう
sad.
しよう、オカリン。
Mayuri seemed like she was on the verge of tears.
何かあったのか？
ねえオカリン、前に言ってたよね。吹雪ちゃんは病気なんかじゃないって。
吹雪ちゃん？中瀬さんのことか？来島さんの方じゃなくて？
あれって本当に病気じゃないんだよね。
おう、違うはずだ。
でも
Mayuri showed me her phone. Fubuki-chan's back in the hospital. I'm on my way. Here's the location.
また入院した？だって。
I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. Fubuki was at a different location than before. This time it was the AH Tokyo General Hospital High-Tech Medical Center in Yoyogi. Oh, I see, so the other one wasn't it. Well, that's... Or no, it is this... Whatever. This hospital sucks, is the point. Fuck this hospital. It was supposedly one of Japan's most advanced hospitals. According to what I read on the internet, patients with the new encephalitis that everyone was talking about were being gathered here for special treatment. Special treatment in this hospital? No buenos. I also read a lot of really bad urban legends about the place, and I was a bit worried about what kind of horror show I'd find there. Definitely not people being tortured in the basement. But of course, when we arrived, it was nothing like that. It was very clean and decorated like a luxury hotel.
Mayuri-chan, Hokari-san, こっちです。
Kaede and Yuki waved to us as we entered the lobby. Yuki had gotten a message from Kaede as well, and had evidently come right over.
吹雪ちゃんは大丈夫だよ。
Yuki gave Mayuri a soft hug and a smile. Kaede bowed her head apologetically.
驚かせてごめんね。私も焦っちゃって。もっとちゃんと確認してからメールすればよかった。
というと、中瀬さんの容体は？
病室で吹雪ちゃんのお母さんに会えたんですけど、例の病気が悪化したとかじゃないそうです。
じゃあまた検査入院とか？
はい、そう言ってました。だから全然心配ないって。なんだ、はあ、よかった。
Mayuri looked extremely relieved as Yuki continued to hug her. If I remembered right, the last time they examined her, they said it was possible she had the disease, but as long as it didn't get worse, it wouldn't affect her daily life. They had just told her to come back for regular checkups. The new encephalitis had arrived in Japan over 6 months ago, but the number of patients was still increasing. Fortunately, there hadn't been a single casualty yet.
あれは病気なんかじゃないと思うけどな。
I was certain that what they were calling encephalitis was actually something similar to reading Steiner. One time, when I went to visit Fubuki in the hospital, I had secretly investigated the other patients. I wasn't able to get any proof, but I found out most of the patients in her wing had, to varying degrees, memories of the same world line. Many people had memories of Japan at war.
吹雪ちゃんに会えるかな。それがね、今 MRI で脳の検査をしている最中なんですって。だから病室にいないの。そうなんだ。でももう少しで終わるみたいよ。ここで待っていてって吹雪ちゃんのお母さんが。
Kaede motioned to Mayuri, indicating she should sit down at a nearby sofa.
検査が終わったら声をかけてくれるみたい。
I let the girls sit down on the sofa and stood next to them while I surveyed the lobby.
すごい病院ですよね。
中瀬さんの家って実はすごい金持ちだったりするのか？こんなところに入院なんて。
いえ、そうじゃなくってですね。吹雪ちゃんのお母さんの話だと、日本とアメリカの政府がお金を出して新しい治療のプロジェクトを始めるみたいなんです。この病院とアメリカの専門病院や研究所が中心になってやるんだそうですよ。
そうなのか。
I wasn't sure how I felt about that. If I was right about what this disease really was, it was hard to imagine a bigger waste of money.
お願いします。患者は全員個室にしてください。それも患者同士が接触しないよう、なるべく離れた部屋で。
しかしね、そんな都合よく病床は空いていませんから。
それでもやってくれないとダメです。患者同士が会話をすることで夢の情報を共有してしまうでしょ
いや、それはそうですが。
脳というのはね、他人が見た夢なの
magically
に、
make
そ
more
れに
rooms, my
共
guy.
感を覚えてしまうと、あたかも自分が見た夢のように錯覚してしまう。そういう可能性だってあるのです。
Across the lobby, I saw an old Japanese doctor in a white coat and a big man in a suit who was frantically trying to talk to him. I'd seen the man in the suit before. Yeah, I've seen him a handful of times. This fucking guy. Actually, it was a man I knew well.
教授、レスキネン教授。
I hurried over.
レスキネン教授、俺です。岡部です。
He must have been wearing his translator because he was communicating with the old doctor in Japanese. Dr. Leskinen's face quickly broke into a smile when he saw me.
Oh, Rintaro!
Hey boy, what's up? I'm gonna say that every fucking time. That might be my favorite Leskinenism. His voice was so loud that everyone in the lobby, doctors, nurses, staff, and even the patients, turned to look at me. Dr. Leskinen didn't seem to notice them as he ran over. He was like a giant American football player racing for a touchdown.
うわちょっと待ってください教授ストップストップ
My cries went unheard as Dr. Leskinen tackled me and then pulled me up. Then he switched from football player to pro wrestler, and he swung me up and down. I felt like I was a little child, just rattling this dude around like a rag doll. There was nothing I could do to resist him as he flung me around. Such a funny mental image. A moment later, he noticed the cold stares of the people around us and finally released me.
いやはやすまない。あまりに驚いてはしゃぎすぎてしまった。
Dr. Leskinen bowed to the people around him in apology.
レスキネン先生、この青年とはどういったお知り合いかな？
The doctor that Professor Leskinen had been talking to was staring at me suspiciously.
その
I wasn't sure exactly what to tell him. It wasn't like he was really my professor.
見たところまだ学生のようだが、どこの大学かね？教授と同じ脳科学専攻だとすると。
いえ俺は
彼は9月からビクトゥ・コンドリア大学の学生ですよ。いずれ私の研究室に来てもらうつもりでいます。
おほう、ビクトル・コンドリア大学かね。これは驚いた。
I looked over at Dr. Leskinen questioningly, but he gave me a mischievous smile. This guy, he really was such a kid.
日本人であそこへ行ける学生なんてめったにいない。
Yup.
大したものだ。
どうも
ははは。
Ah ha ha ha. After the doctor left, I sighed loudly enough for Professor Leskinen to hear me.
今の人は
この病院の院長だよ。
院長そんな偉い人相手に堂々と嘘をついたんですか？
おや、私は嘘なんてついたかな？確かに9月から我が校の学生とは言ったが、何も今年の9月からとは言ってないよ。それとも何かい？君は結局我が校に来る自信がないのかな？だったら少し残念だが。
He really was like a little kid, completely shameless. But still, it was hard to hate him. I don't have as hard a time.
でも驚きました。
まさか教授がまた日本に来ているなんて。
Certain information makes it just a teensy bit easier. It had been 5 months since I'd seen him off at Narita. I looked around for Maho, but I didn't see her anywhere.
ウィンタールはどこか具合でも悪いのかい？治療でここに？
いえ違います。入院してる友人の見舞いで。
ああ、そうか。それはよか。いや、その友人にとっては良くないか。申し訳ない。
いえ。それで教授こそ日本の病院で何を？
Dr. Leskinen brought his face close to mine and whispered so that the people around us couldn't hear him.
君も知っているだろう。例の新型脳炎の件だよ。アメリカ政府の依頼で精神生理学研究所が治療法を研究していたんだが、手詰まりらしくてね。私も調査に加わるよう大学から命じられたというわけさ。
そうなんですか。レスキネン教授が新型脳炎を。
Now there was a word I didn't expect to hear. I explained that my friend was here because they thought she might have the disease.
もしかしてその友人というのは中瀬克美？
クリスマスパーティーで会ってましたね。
うんうん。実は私が新型農園に興味を持ったのもあのパリがきっかけでね。
Party?
君と克美が揃って倒れただろ？
I can't not. But he was right, actually. In my case, I'd been sent to that other world line.
克美には何日か前に再会したんだけどね。私にも何度か噛みついてきてよ。どうしてまた入院させられるんだ？私は元気なのにってね。
そうでしたか。
もう少し協力的になってくれると嬉しいと凛太郎からも伝えておいてくれないかい？
はあ。
実際のところキャツミだけでなく全ての患者に申し訳ないという気持ちはあるんだ。我々も日本の医師団も研究を進めてはいるんだけどね。どうにも解せない検査結果ばかりで困り果てているのさ。
Dr. Leskinen's usually chipper expression darkened. The man was such a ball of vitality that I hadn't noticed until then, but when his smile disappeared, I could see the wrinkles that had formed on his face from exhaustion. He must have been working hard, like he said.
正直、最初はどの医師もこれほど不可解な病気だとは思っていなかったらしいんだけどね。ん？どうしたんだ、凛太郎？
その、
何か気になることでも？
いえ、俺は医学生じゃないのでさっぱりです。
I was just about to tell him about my reading Steiner. Won't do that. But in the end, I couldn't. If my uninformed opinion was wrong, it could cost the encephalitis patients their lives. I couldn't just tell him when I didn't have any proof. Then his face drew close to mine again.
ところで、その克美がなかなか興味深いことを言っていたんだよ。自分たちは病気じゃない。別の世界の出来事を夢で見る能力があるだけだとかなんとか。
I told her not to say anything about it. Could she not help it? This was bad. They might start to doubt her sanity.
中瀬さんはとても想像力がたくましいというか、SF とかアニメとか大好きですから、他の平行世界を感知できる力なんて多分趣味の影響で口にしただけじゃないかと思います。実は俺もそういうことを言っていた時期があるんですよ。
I tried my best to come up with excuses, but Dr. Leskinen still seemed concerned.
だけどね、私も治療プロジェクトに参加して驚いたんだが、確かにこの病の特徴として多くの患者が夢を共有する不可思議な現象が起こっているんだ。集団幻覚に近いのかとも思って今調べているんだけどね。でもなんだろう、こんなことは初めてでね。脳科学的には今のところ解が導けない。正直非科学的という言葉が一番しっくりくるくらいだよ。それこそ平行世界とか前世の記憶とかね。
そうですか。
君も克美からいろいろと話を聞いてくれると助かるよ。医者に言えないことでも友人になら話すだろうしね。
はい、一応心がけておきます。
さて、凛太郎、それはそれとして確認だ。
Dr. Leskinen was looking over my shoulder.
クリスマスパーティーの時にも感じたんだけれど、君のガールフレンドたちはキュートなお嬢さんばかりだね。
God damn it, Leskinen. Stop being so fucking likable, you bastard.
Eh?
Stop being so funny and affable. I turned around and saw that Mayuri, Kaede, and Yuki had all stood up from the sofa and were looking at me. When they saw Dr. Leskinen looking at them, they waved.
やはりあの中に恋人がいたりするのかい？ユキ、楓、マユリ、ルカ、それともカツミがそうなのかな？
Damn it. His words were so surprising that I couldn't think of anything to say. Maho would often call this middle-aged man a mischievous boy, and that was exactly the look he had on his face.
いや、別に無理に聞かせてくれとは言わないよ。君のプライベートを詮索する気はないからね。ただ、まあ、可愛い教え子にちょっとした土産話をと思っただけさ。
Dr. Leskinen turned to walk away before I could figure out what he meant.
それじゃリンタロウ、私はもうちょっと院長と話をしないといけないから、これで。できればユキたちにも一人一人ハグしていきたいところだったが、次回にとっておこう。彼女たちによろしく。
あ、はい。
Mayuri and the others came over to me as I watched him go.
今の人レスキネン先生ですよね。どこかで見たことあると思った。アメリカに帰ったんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
Oh, you know what? Boop. Boop. Okay. We can move on.
おかりん？
And you get another one. Boop. There was no way I could tell the girls that what Dr. Leskinen and I were just talking about. I'll never get over this shit right here. Like, and then the fact that this is some Steins Gate art, like cover art. It's like, what is blood cover? I swear that's also something. But this is just so, it's so direct, right? It's just so, like, complete absence of subtlety. Not a shred. And this, like, I swear this is also something. Alright, anyways. After Fubuki's exam was over, we went to her room and listened to her complain, and then the visit was over. Just like Dr. Leskinen had said, she looked just fine. She told us she was ready to leave the hospital and jog all the way home. Mayuri and the others were relieved, but I felt worried. Did I need to talk to Dr. Leskinen about reading Steiner after all? But how would I explain it? It might be a better idea to talk to Maho and have her explain it to him. I couldn't come to an answer right away. We said goodbye to Kaede and Yuki at one of the stations on the way back. Before we got to Ikebukuro, I remembered to take out my phone and open the web browser. I went to Ad Channel, eager to see how she'd responded to the bait I'd spread this afternoon. Baited. Hey, Shadow.
Oh.
Jibaited. I put my hand over my mouth to stifle the noise. 7-hour stream playing Tekken. Oh my god. I want to try Tekken 8. I'm terrible at fighting games, but I do want to get that at some point. 7 hours. Ooh. I think that's that's a lot. I imagine you were quite exhausted at the end of that. Did you get it though? Like, I hope you at least got it. Mayuri had been standing next to me, and she was leaning over at my screen. I baited her, alright. Jibaited. It was Fitzgerald and Lawrence who based their hypothesis off that experiment. Einstein himself said it had nothing to do with his theories. You don't even know that? How ignorant are you, Raffle? 95%. Gotcha. Very close. I don't know what this was. I didn't think it would go this well. Timestamp was from just 30 minutes ago. I decided to respond immediately, using the same name, Salieri's neighbor. Oh my god, what glorious Oh! You're the ignorant one. In a letter written before his death, Einstein said that he was aware of Michelson and Morley's experiment. Duh. I posted, then reloaded the thread. There was already a response from her. She's chomping at the bit. Correct some dumbass. I know that. Duh. All he said was that he knew of the experiment. Obviously. Einstein used the Fizeau experiment and a stellar aberration to come up with the theory of relativity. The time lag between the posts was just 21 seconds. It was kind of irritating to have her come at me after me so hard. It was as if she was insulting me as a person. Well, I was the one who deliberately written in mistakes, so I should have expected it. You just can't let anyone else win, can you? I see you haven't changed a bit, lol. Are you Mozart? The thread's other users were probably confused. Everyone except for her. Mayuri had been watching our exchange and looking at me confused.
知り合いなの？その栗ご飯とカメハメハさんって。
Quite well.
まあな。多分古くから付き合いのあるやつだと思う。
Now then, how would she reply to the nickname Salieri's neighbor in post I just wrote? I was curious, but there wasn't an immediate response like before. The train reached Ikebukuro Station.
おかり、着いたよ。
The train slid into the station and stopped. I reloaded the thread one more time before the doors opened. There was a very short response from Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha. What's going on here? The Anon from the depths, I love it. Someone give me a TLDR. Who are you? There could be no doubt now. This Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha was Amadeus Kurisu. Suzuha! It was a very hot day in 1998 when Suzuha had said goodbye to Shina Kagari. She'd gone to get food and water from a local store, and when she'd come back and opened the hatch, Kagari was inside, screaming. She looked inside and saw that Kagari was slamming her tiny hands down on the control console.
お前、何をしてるんだ?
Kagari shrank back when she saw Suzuha.
違うの。これは、その。答えろ。目を覚ましたら、鈴葉お姉ちゃんがいなくて、真っ暗で明かりもつかないし、狭くて怖くて苦しくて。だから、係、ドアを開けたくて。それで、あちこちいじってるうちに、こんなことに。
Kagari started to cry.
ごめんなさい、鈴葉お姉ちゃん。ごめんなさい。でも、本当に怖かったんだ。だから。そうか。
Suzuha relaxed her guard. Kagari had PTSD from her time as a war orphan, and she hadn't fully recovered yet. Mayuri had once told her that she got very frightened in dark and cramped places, so I put her there, deliberately. What an asshole. It would make sense if waking up in the dark caused a panic attack. And the time machine could only function with Suzuha's biometric authorization. Someone of Kagari's size wouldn't be able to break the console either.
お前は時間移動のショックで気を失ってたんだよ。だから休ませておいたんだけど、悪かった。
Actually, you could have left a light on or something. Suzuha grabbed one of Kaguri's tiny hands to help her up, and then led her outside the time machine.
暑い。かがり、約束するんだ。どんなことがあっても操縦席のスイッチに触ったりするな。いいな。じゃあ、私は仕事にかかるから、お前はその辺で休んでるんだ。飲み物と食べ物は適当に食べていい。
Suzuha handed Kaguri the provisions she'd bought, then went inside and poked her head into the cargo space under the control console. She connected the IBM 5100 she'd stored there to a portable terminal she'd brought from the future. By all appearances, it was an early 2000 cell phone, but inside it was a miniaturized quantum computer from the year 2000. 2026, specifically. Of course, future Daru had made it himself. When she booted up the IBM 5100, rows of numbers started to appear on the screen.
何をするの？
Kaguri was looking in from outside the machine.
2000年問題は勉強したか？施設の学校でちょっとだけ。結局何にも起こらなかったんでしょ？表向きはね。公表されてないけど、実は当時あれのせいでいくつかの地域や国に深刻な問題が起きたんだ。そうなの？問題だったのはこの IBN5100 というコンピューターなんだよ。これには古いプログラム言語が搭載されてるんだけど、そのプログラムの問題点を技術者たちが修正できなかった。というより、そんな言語で書かれた重大なプログラムが存在すること自体全く知られてなかった。第三次世界大戦はタイムマシンの開発競争が発端なんだけど、もしかすると2000年問題で発生したある事象とそれに付随する対立こそがもっと深い原因である可能性がある。
She didn't expect a 10-year-old like Kaguri to understand this, but she didn't feel like taking the time to explain.
しかも西暦2000年というのは特殊な年でね、すべての世界線が一旦一つに収束してしまうらしいんだ。それに関連してこの問題があらゆる世界線の因果に重大な影響を引き起こすかもしれない。私たちが目指してる狭間の世界線、シュタインズゲートも例外じゃない。
She looked down at the terminal connected to the IBN 5100.
だからこれは2000年問題を起こさないようにするための修正プログラムなんだよ。
Right now, the terminal was converting the patch into the language used by the IBN 5100. The next step was to spread this program all around the world in the form of a virus, and the year 2000 problem that this era's engineers missed would completely disappear. The word connect appeared on the terminal's subscreen.
OK。つながった。
She'd been told that in Japan in this era, ADSL was still in the test phase, and most normal users connected to the internet by low-speed dial-up using ISDN. But in major city areas like Akihabara, universities, labs, and some big computer companies were starting to use fiber optic internet. Some of them were even using wireless LANs. Suzuha cracked her way into one of those. Dad had laughed when he'd said that with 2036 technology, cracking late 20th century network security was a joke, but he'd been right.
でも未来を変えちゃったら、かがりたちがいた未来の世界も全然変わっちゃうんじゃないの？
Surprisingly, Kaguri had gotten the gist of what Suzuha had just told her.
そういうことだ。 もうあの世界は存在させない。私たちはシュタインズゲートを目指すためにここへ来たんだから。
Suddenly, the uneasy look on Kaguri's face vanished. It was as if her soul had left her body. Suddenly, her face was expressionless and her eyes were wide.
声。神様の声。聞こえる。かがり？ダメだよ。よくないよ。ダメなんだよ、鈴葉お姉ちゃん。そんなことしちゃいけないんだ。おい。
Kaguri was acting strangely. Suspiciously, Suzuha reached her hand out toward her, but she slipped past Suzuha's hand. And quicker than any child should be able to move, she slammed her shoulder straight into Suzuha's body. Suzuha was caught completely off guard. That's how fast it was. Kaguri's shoulder hit her in the solar plexus. She bent over and collapsed onto the seat. Kaguri tore the terminal out of Suzuha's hands. The cables connecting it to the IBN 5100 were ripped out, and errors displayed on both screens.
お前、何を？
Kaguri didn't answer the question. Instead, she grabbed the backpack that Suzuha had placed on the seat and spilled its contents onto the floor. There were MREs, spare parts, clothes, and a semi-automatic pistol. Suzuha couldn't believe it. Kaguri was going to try and pick it up.
やめろ!
She forced herself to ignore the pain as she jumped on Kaguri's body. But another unbelievably powerful body slam knocked her back. Something cold was pushed up right against her brow.
動いちゃダメ。
Kaguri's tiny hands weren't shaking at all as they clutched the semi-automatic pistol. Dude, there's something so fucked about those, like, they are tiny hands. And that big-ass gun. Shit ain't right. In the space of an instant, the safety on the gun had been flipped off. That's when Suzuha realized that this wasn't just a temper tantrum. Suzuha was the one who taught her how to use a gun. That's why she knew that Kaguri was perfectly calm.
正気か？今すぐ銃を下ろせ。こんな真似はやめろ。やめるのはお姉ちゃんの方だよ。何？世界を変えちゃいけないんだ。お姉ちゃんはおかしいこと言ってる。
There was no hesitation in her eyes. Instead, Suzuha saw only resolve.
じゃあ、このまま戦争が起きてもいいっていうのか？そんなのわかんないよ。かがりは元の世界に戻りたいだけだもん。なら、もう無理だ。私たちはタイムマシンですでに過去に干渉してる。世界線だってずれてしまってるはずだ。あそこに戻れる可能性は低く。うるさいうるさいうるさい！かがりはママを絶対に助けるんだ！この世界を消すなんてダメだよ！絶対にやらせないから！
Kaguri turned the gun toward the IBN 5100.
やめろ!
Before Suzuha could stop her, she yanked down on the trigger. Again and again.
やめてくれ、かがり！やめろ!
And then Kaguri jumped out of the time machine, and Suzuha never saw her again. On every night that passed, she remembered Kaguri. Suzuha had spent some time looking for Kaguri when she'd first come to this era, but in the end, she never found anything. But Shina Kaguri, who was now 22 years old, was here in Akihabara. Suzuha was sure of it.
おう、魔法タン、オスオス。
Itaru was sitting at the computer next to Suzuha and talking into his monitor. The monitor was displaying a video chat screen. On the screen was a young girl dressed in slovenly fashion. No, a proper full-grown lady. Slovenly. That's my favorite style. Oh my god. How many more of these? I'm gonna, by the end of this, I'm going to have a fucking, like, entire folder of just Maho profile pictures. That's a keeper. Fucking face. Oh, it's incredible. Hold on, what's Suzuha like that? She just looks confused. She's dying! I have not slept in years. It was 8:30 p.m. at the Future Gadget Lab in Akihabara. Meanwhile, Victor Condria was an hour off from usual due to daylight savings time, and it was 7:30 a.m.
ヒヤジョーさん、大丈夫？
I'm fine, why do you ask?
この時間だし寝起きっしょ。
Maho was a mess. Oh, she's my favorite mess. He had the EP drool. Her hair was never combed right, but her eyes were bloodshot and her gaze was wandering. The spots under her eyes were too dark for the little bit of makeup she'd applied to cover them up. Her cheeks were sunken, which made her look even tinier than usual. Do not let her hear you say that. On top of all that, her skin was terribly pale. She looked like something out of a zombie movie.
低血圧魔法弾も燃える。
Oh my god, Daru, shut the fuck up. That's how you know she's fucked up, is she didn't even, like, she had no indignation for that. Normally, she would have gotten upset at Itaru's joke, but either she'd gotten used to it, or simply given up, because she said nothing.
そっちの進展はどう？
なんとかオカリンが分解しちゃう前の状態に組み立て直したお。機能はほぼ再現できてると思われ。
Itaru glanced toward the development room, past the curtain in the back of the lab. Right now, he was working with Maho to recreate what Okabe had called the time leap machine.
うまくいかないの？
なんか安定しないっつうか、普通の電子レンジになっちゃうんだよね。
そう。何がいけないのかしらね。
オカリンにそこんところの話を聞ければ違ってくるんだけどな。
無理だよ。私たちがこんなことしているって知っただけで怒鳴り込んでくるよ。おじさんは恐れているんだ。世界線の収束する力というものを。あの人を説得するのは容易じゃない。
In fact, it had been almost a year since she'd first tried and failed. There was a moment of silence. Please tell me she just fell asleep standing up. Oh my god, get this woman a blanket, please. Get her a bed, a blanket, and some, I don't know, some nice classical music to fall asleep to.
で魔法弾もしかして寝てんじゃね？
Definitely. She so fell asleep. It's going in the folder. Maho's whole body jerked, and she almost fell out of her chair.
あ、危なかったわ。出勤前なのに二度寝してしまうところだった。
I also love that it's just Skype. I assume there's an S over there. I assume it's Skype with an I.
つうか頑張りすぎだお。無理して体壊したら意味なくね？
このくらい平気よ。というか、これだけやってもまだ天才にはかなわないんだから。
そんなことないと思うけどな。 僕はさ、魔法炭だって十分天才だと。
気休めなら不要よ。岡部さんの言っていたタイムリープ、こんなにヒントはあるのに未だに解を見つけられないんだもの。
There's like a... The hell was that? There it is again. Hold on. Could be... Like, whatever it's picking up, I literally don't hear it in real life. It's picking up some kind of hum. Nope, no hum. I don't fucking get it. This is very frustrating. Get that. What is that? Like, whatever it is, it's infuriating me. Make it stop. I cannot for the life of me figure out what the fuck is getting picked up by this goddamn microphone. Which makes me very unhappy. Not being able to figure out what it is specifically makes me very displeased. It's also frustrating that I'm clicking a thing that is supposed to, like, something's supposed to come up when I click that, and it's not coming up, and it's making me mad. Is it... I'm so beyond lost right now. Like, this is making me furious. Like, I'm watching it go. There's no sound. Hi, Jeff. How's it going? I'm infuriated right now. My microphone is like, there's like something. It's picking up something. There's no noise. I'm literally sitting in silence, and there's no. But it's picking up some random bullshit, and I cannot for the fucking life of me figure out why and what is this? It's making me very mad. I don't I don't there's nothing. I literally can't hear it with my ears. I don't I don't see how it's fucking. There's nothing there. My microphone has gone like full on schizophrenic. Nothing. There's no sound. That's a phenomenal question. I wish I knew. Possibly. Give me... just... I swear. I do. I really want the photo. I'm, like, so focused right now. Like, this is driving me to actual insanity. There's nothing right there. And then if I... It's this. Whatever this is. This little setting goober. Is it still buzzing? Or is it... According to the thing... I'm pretty sure it's not. It's only when I talk. Is the buzz still there when I talk, or is it just my talk? Okay. Something on the... Like, I don't know, maybe something's scraping the fucking microphone. What? That would be the funniest fucking thing if that actually solved it. You're kidding me. You're fucking... Is it really fucking gone? There's no way it's actually gone. Like, it's still there. Whatever this fucking is, it's still there, but it is like... It went down a little bit. There's like this really weird ass ambient sound. I can see it. I can see it on the I'm so crisp. I can literally see it on the waveform. It's still there, but it's like lower now. Alright, let me is there for... It's still there. Whatever the fuck this is, it's still there. So at the very least, I've deduced that it's something with the microphone itself as opposed to something on the outside, which makes sense, I guess. Maybe I just need a new fucking microphone. I don't know how to clean a fucking microphone. That's one problem. Well, fuck. To Google. Is it worse? Is it 10 times worse? Is it 100 times worse? Alright, well, I'm gonna spend the next few hours figuring this shit out. I guess this is gonna be fun. Here, before I go, I'll look at these fucking, I'll look at this picture. I'll also try not to talk too much, because apparently it's god-awful. I spoke words. The click and then it was gone. Is it actually gone though? No, it's still there. Yeah, it's this is gonna be a process, I can tell. Yeah. I think that was me turning my microphone off. Okay, I'm gonna look at these pictures and then I'm gonna leave and figure this shit the fuck out. I'm mad. Oh my god, this makes me so absurdly happy. It doesn't quite make up for my agonizing pain right now, but oh my god. Hold on, let me put it. There we go. Fucking Mr. Braun with the board shorts. It's ridiculous. Suzuha. Moeka. I love that Maho looks exactly the same. That's so mean. That's, like, I'm gonna be honest, I love it, but also, that's really rude. Her shirt's more green. You're right. She is wearing slightly different clothing, but quite literally, she's exactly the same. Oh, that's funny. Oh my god. Short hair Kurisu is... It's pretty good. Alright, well thank you for this. I'll, go, figure out what to do with my life. Americanized, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go try and fix this, and fail to fix this, and then hate my life. Bye! I'm pretty sure I fixed it. I think I fixed it. I see no hum. The hum has... hummed away. Good fucking riddance, random hum. Rip and kill. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember what I did. I'm pretty sure I was working in a blind fury. I don't know how I fixed it. And I don't care. I'm gonna keep playing. Fuck that. I'll probably like video edit it. I'll like merge the two into one for the YouTubes. I don't know. Or maybe I won't. I don't fucking know.
岡部さんの言っていたタイムリープ、こんなにヒントはあるのに、未だに解を見つけられないんだもの。
Point is, Maho's here, and that's what really matters. I'm like fucking stupid paranoid about the... I'm literally just watching this green ass bar. Okay, I trust you. I trust you, computer. I trust you, microphone audio readout device. Anyways, oh god. Now things are all... It's so far away now for some reason. I don't know why. Alright.
記憶データなんて膨大なものをどうやって圧縮して過去へ送ることができたのか。クリスはそれをやってのけたっていうのに。
Maho seemed upset. Every time I say anything, I'm just... It was obvious even through the monitor.
ああ、ごめんなさい。愚痴をこぼしている場合じゃなかったわね。今日の報告、他に何かあるかしら。なければそろそろ出勤しようと思うのだけれど。
I love how when it comes to the time leap machine and like the upgrade, whenever there's like a question of like, whenever they get stuck, it's always the lifter. Like the fact that Okabe somehow managed to like fucking like oops himself into figuring out what the lifter is kind of incredible, considering all these situations where like they have to rebuild it or they have to build it like again from the beginning. Like nobody can figure out what the fucking lifter is. Okabe just like chanced into it one time and no one can recreate that glorious discovery.
もう一つある。
Suzuha looked at Itaru.
前から調べてほしいって頼まれてた件について。
何か分かったの？はっきりしたことはまだ。そう。
あちこちのネットワークに強引に侵入したりとかギリギリまではやってみたんだよ。
別に責めたりしないわ。今分かっていることを教えてちょうだい。
いや、むしろ激しく罵倒とかしてくれて OK なわけだが。
父さん、早くして時間が来ちゃうから。
Mao don't give a fuck. She's like, fine, just hurry the fuck up. Just hurry up. Itaru opened a different window on the monitor. He displayed one of the text files in it. It was a record of the information Itaru and Suzuha had collected.
まず、魔法団たちがホテルの地下駐車場で襲われた事件。警察の発表だと、新興カルト教団の男が違法薬物を使った末にって話になってるけど、あれ、間違いなく嘘だわ。
嘘？
犯人の身元は警察発表通り某大学の准教授。これはいいんだけどさ、そいつが宗教団体に所属してたっつう事実がこれっぽっちも出てこないんだよね。公安が隠し持ってる教団員のデータにもアクセスしてみたから確定。
捏造ってことなのね。
アットチャンネルとか見てるとさ、信者っぽい人が時々書き子するんだよね。教団は無実だとか陰謀だとか。そうすると一瞬でものすごい数の教団アンチが湧いてきてフルボッコなわけ。
The haters and the fakers.
しかもそのアンチどももっともらしい偽の証拠とかガンガン出してくるんだよ。画像付きとかで。いくらなんでもあれはちょっと異常。
そうなの？私そのアットチャンネルというのをあまりよく知らないから。
アットちゃん含めてさ、大抵の大手サイトには工作員が張り付いてるもんなんだよ。しかもビジネスとしてバイト代もらってね。朝から晩まで24時間ぶっ通しで。
情報操作、プロパガンダだね。
She's like, I know a thing or two about that.
政治家や官僚なんかもネット世論の誘導に利用してるし、それを専門にしてる会社もあるくらいだお。
なるほど、それならわかるわ。そのあたりはアメリカも日本も同じね。
でも工作員なんて僕からしたら IP 変えてもバラバラなんで。それでチェックしてみたら、あの事件すごい人数の工作員が投入されてるっぽい。どこからそんなに金が出てるんだよってレベル。
そう。
父さんのバイト先が襲われた方の事件は？
そっちも同じ。
The police had called it a fight between foreign mafias trying to expand their territory in Japan. The media never questioned the story at all, and even the people on the boards of the famously skeptical at channel believed everything they were told. Of course, there was no mention of whatsoever of Russia or CERN.
でさ、試しに目撃者を装ってロシアの特殊部隊を見たってすれ立ててみたんだよね。そしたらまあすごいのなんの、炎上しすぎてびっくりしたお。あん時は思わず工作員の本名から会社名まで全部晒してやろうかと思ったっつうの。
Don't do that. Evidently, he'd been really irritated. It was rare for Itaru to get so angry. Or maybe it wasn't, she decided.
つまりどこかから圧力がかかっていて幕引きにされたってことね。
Daru's passion takes many forms.
さすがは自由の国日本だけのことはあるわ。
アメリカも似たようなもんじゃね？
違いないわね。
The two of them smiled at the joke.
つうわけで僕としてはお手上げ。
そう。それで十分よ。調べてくれてありがとう。
ヒアジョーさん、研究所から来日の許可は下りそうなの？
それがレスキネン教授の助手として連れて行ってもらえるよう何回も申請しているのだけれど、却下の連続なのよ。
レスキネン教授は今こっちに来てるんだっけ？
ええ、新型脳炎の調査でね。
Since it had nothing to do with the artificial intelligence, it seemed Maho wouldn't be allowed to go along, is what that word is.
いいわ。どうしてもダメと言うなら、こっちにも考えがあるもの。
どうする気？
You can't keep Maho down, she's the best.
まさか上官の命令無視してでも正義を貫くとか？そして悪に捕まってしまうんですね。わかります。ねえねえマホタン、殺せって言ってみて。できればすごく悔しそうな顔で。
は？
父さん。
Suzuha's hand went for her back pocket.
させん。
Itaru's shoulders slumped as he apologized. Lately, she'd been able to put a stop to Itaru's terrible jokes by just by doing that. She wasn't sure if it was a good thing or a bad thing that she knew exactly how to handle him.
ま、とにかく近々そっちへ行くわ。
わかった。日程が決まったら連絡を。それとヒアジョーさん、出勤するならもう一度鏡を見てからにした方がいい。
Just before they ended the call, Suzuha decided to warn her.
ん
？Maho stood up and walked toward the closet without turning off the camera. She vanished from view, but a moment later... You look like a ghoul! She must have seen how terrible she looked, because she let out a very unfeminine scream. He relaxed for a moment after turning off the video chat. Suzuha thought back to the time before she'd become a time traveler. She did this every time she got off the video chat with Maho.
タイムマシン開発の協力者、ヒアジョー・マホか。
It was after Maho had gone back to America that she'd volunteered to help Suzuha and Itaru with the time machine. That meant that when Hashide Itaru completed the time machine 25 years from now, Hyajo Maho must have contributed in some way. But...
あんまり未来のことを言うのはまずいんだけど、父さんの仲間にそんな名前の人いなかったんだよね。
え、そうなん？
Dude, spoilers. Life spoilers.
ということはさ、どこかのタイミングで開発メンバーから抜けるってことなんじゃないかな。自分の意思なのか、それ以外の外的要因なのかはわからないけど、少なくとも開発の主要メンバーじゃなかったと思う。
そうなのか。かなり頼もしい人だけどな。
こんなことを言いたくはないけど、どこかのスパイという可能性もある。
いくらなんでもマホタンに限ってそれはないよ。
ごめん。でもそういう可能性もあるっていうことだけは頭に入れておいて。言ったでしょ、第3次世界大戦前の情報戦はもう始まってるんだ。どっちにしろマシンの秘密が無駄に漏れるのは困るよ。それだけは徹底するようちゃんと注意しておいてよね。で、この先のタイムマシン開発はどう進めていくつもり？
やっぱオカリンの協力がないとな。
結局そこなんだよね。オカリンおじさん、やっぱり無理なのかな。こうなったら力ずくで。
前にそれしようとして失敗したのはどこの誰だっけ？
Suzuha pursed her lips. Even with a gun in his face, Okabe Rintaro still wouldn't get in the time machine. To be honest, Suzuha was out of options. He stifled a sigh. It didn't do any good to let herself get down.
そういえば、母さんとはうまくやれてる？
な？
私、そっちの方も心配なんだ。
I'm in a bad mood, so let's take it out on you. Let's make this about you.
大丈夫？私が生まれてこなくなるような事態にならないよね。
なんつうの？タイムマシンよりもなんだい？
ちょっと。
Suzuha stormed over to Itaru.
困るよ、父さん。
パパ、頑張るからね。
いつも口ばっかり。結局、例の映画のチケットも無駄にしちゃったんでしょ？
She meant the pair of movie tickets that Mayuri and Ferris had conspired to give them at the Christmas party. Conspired is such a great word.
オカリンと吹雪氏が倒れちゃったじゃん。その後お見舞いとかでバタバタしてるうちに映画が終わっちゃってたわけでしょうがないっつうか。
でもその後新しいチケットを用意しようとしたら断ったって聞いたけど。
誰に？
まゆ姉さんとルミ姉さんに決まってるじゃないか。
そりゃあれだ。マユシとフェイリスターに頼りきりなんて男らしくないっしょ。キリ。
で、自分で何か行動に移したわけ？ダメだこれ。
Maybe this was a more important problem than the time machine. Suzuha brought her hands up to her head.
いい父さん。私、いつまでもこうやってお説教できないんだからね。もうすぐ行っちゃうんだよ。
Suddenly, there was a sad look in Itaru's eyes.
そういう顔しない。約束したはずだよ。もう迷うのはやめにしようって。
For the past 6 months, Suzuha had been thinking about whether it was really right to erase this world. But in the end, it was none other than Itaru who'd pushed her to go ahead.
ごめん。
She couldn't bear to see her father so depressed, so she patted his broad back.
しょぼくれてないで母さんにメールして。予定の空いてる日がないか聞いて。で空いてたら映画に誘う。
ゲー、いきなりハードル高すぎ。
高すぎでも何でもいいから誘いなさい。いい？これは命令だからね。
命令って。
返事は？
さあ、イエスさあ。
Satisfied, she headed off to take a shower.
あ、でもその前にちょっとだけコンビニに行ってくる。
何しに？
いや、実は夕食がまだっつうか、今夜も徹夜になりそうだし、遅くならないうちに買い出しようと。
Still hunched over, he pointed toward the development room. He was pointing at the phone wave named subject to change, Unit 02, that was put together, but still undergoing testing.
睨まないで。なるべく太らないようなものを食べますんで、何卒お許しを。
バニラ。
はい。
私シャワー出たらアイス食べたい。バニラ。
うん、わかった。庶民がなかなか口にできない高級なやつをいっぱい買ってきてあげる。
Okie dokie!
いっぱいはいらないよ。一つでいい。
さあ、イエス。
That was enough to cheer Daru up. He took his wallet and ran out of the lab.
やれやれ。世話がかかるんだから。
Man, now I want some ice cream. She had just about taken off her jacket so she could take that shower. Jesus Christ. Microphone issues or not, my brain has issues. Christ. But
鈴葉。
Itaru would come back to the lab.
どうかした？
階段のところにさ、こんなの落ちてたんだよね。
Itaru showed her a keychain he was holding. It was a round anime character whose color had faded to a smoky green. It was an Upa.
誰のかわかる？
まゆ姉さんじゃないの？
She leaned forward to take a closer look, and then felt like she was experiencing déjà vu.
このウーパー、どこかで。
She'd seen it before? She couldn't really remember when, but her internal alarms were going off. This keychain was extremely important.
うん。
Upas were common enough that you could find them anywhere. Plastic edges had worn down, the paint was faded and coming off in places. But there was no dust, and there were no stains. Instead, it shone brightly as if its owner had put in a lot of effort into taking good care of it. Oh my god, why? Oh, I'm melting! My brain is melting! The chain was so old that part of it had snapped off. That was probably how it got dropped.
どこだっただろう。どこかで見た。
マユシに見せてもらったとか？
そうなのかな。
She stared at the green Upa in Utaru's hands, and then, in her mind, she heard a young girl's scream.
ママがずっと大切にしてきたウーパのキーホルダーだよ。かがりちゃんにあげる。大事にしてね。
Her hands are so tiny! She gasped. A feeling of indescribable terror raced down her spine.
まさかこれ かがりのか。
That was when she'd last seen it. August 13th, 2036. The day she'd gone into the time machine. That was when she'd seen this Upa. It was older and more worn now, but the more she remembered that day, the more certain she became. This was the Upa that Mayuri had given to Kagari. She'd seen Kagari holding it and crying to herself many times before.
かがりってもしかして未来のマユシの娘？
うん。
見つかったん？
いや、でも向こうはこっちを認識しているんだ。
つまりどういうことだってばよ。
あいつこのラボを監視してるんだよ。
6 months ago, Suzuha had spotted someone in a writing suit spying on the time machine at Radicon. Even though the figure managed to elude her back then, Suzuha was certain it had to be Kagari. Ever since then, her careful efforts to defend the time machine had paid off, and she hadn't seen any sign of Kagari, but she'd never thought she'd be spying on the lab as well.
いや、ちょっと考えれば当たり前のことだったんだ。あいつは私たちがシュタインズゲートに到達するのを阻止しようとしてる。この世界をなかったことにしたくないと思ってる。ということは私だけじゃなく父さんもマークされてる。
え？僕？
まあ父さんの命に危険はないとは思うんだ。世界線の摂理を信じるなら父さんは少なくとも2036年までは生きるはずだし、ただシュタインズゲート到達を阻止するために父さんの研究の邪魔はしてくるかもしれない。
A lot of bad things had been happening around Suzuha, Itaru, and Okabe Rintaro. There was some possibility that the final target was Itaru.
これからは用心のために私がいない時には必ずドアに鍵をかけておいて。
わかったお。
オカリンおじさんや母さんやマユ姉さんたちが一緒にいても絶対に開けっぱなしはダメだよ。気休めかもしれないけどドアチェーンもかけた方がいい。
でもさ、オカリンやマユシならともかくアマネシと二人きりの時にそんなことしたらなんか別の意味で怪しくね？アマネシに変な誤解されないかな？
A valid point.
あ、それは確かに。
もしそれで嫌われでもしたら我が家のピンチだお。
Suzuha groaned softly, unsure of what to do.
父さんがもっと早く母さんと恋人になってれば何の問題もないのに。
Suzuha, you're not fucking helping.
で、結局そこへ話が戻るとか？
とにかく注意だけはしておいてよね。
Suzuha decided to keep the green Upa keychain. She softly ran her fingertips over it as she stared at it.
なあ鈴葉、かがりたんって血はつながってないけどマユシの娘なんだよね。
そうだよ。
あのマユシに育ててもらった子が人を襲うような恐ろしい人間になるのかな？なんか鈴葉の話とイメージが重ならないっつうか、もっと優しくてホワホワしてて可愛い女の子になってるんじゃないかなとか思ったり。
だとよかったんだけど。私も前はそうなると信じてたけど今のかがりは多分。
From what she'd seen at Radicon, she could tell Kagari had definitely received professional combat training. It wasn't just the simple self-defense techniques that she'd learned from Suzuha when she was a child. As she'd grown up, she'd been taught the cold techniques of a killer. There was no way to know where she'd been or what she'd been doing ever since she'd gone missing in 1998. There was no doubt in Suzuha's mind that she was trying to ruin her plans. Suzuha sighed as she took her shower. But since it was summer, she'd set the water temperature low. It was barely any hotter than tap water. As long as the water was pouring down on her, she could feel like all the bad memories were being washed away. She slapped her cheeks with both hands and turned off the water. The small tiled room suddenly became quiet. In the silence, she vigorously toweled off her hair. This building was never intended for anyone to live in. Not only was there very little room, there wasn't even a place to change. It was small and there were no windows, and the steam from the shower room built up, making it an unpleasant sauna in summer. Supposedly, Itaru and Okabe would sit naked next to the fans to get away from the heat and moisture. Of course, that was only when the girls, as well as Urushibara Luka, weren't around. But Suzuha couldn't do that. There were those huge scars on her chest. If she was careless and Yuki saw them, she'd have a big problem. So she always forced herself to change within this small space. The second she left the shower room, she realized something was wrong. The lights were off in the part behind the curtain where the lab room was. She was sure she had all the lab lights on when she'd gone to take a shower. She didn't remember turning them off. Still completely naked, she flung open the curtain. She dropped to the floor, ready to move. She could tell by the light from the shower room that there was no one else there. She didn't hear any breathing, and she didn't feel any other presence.
父さんが一度戻ってきたのか。
And then when he'd left, he'd turned off all the lights? No, that couldn't be right. She looked around the room and saw that things had been moved in a way that an amateur wouldn't be able to notice. Itaru's computer desk, the sofa area, the bookshelves, even the mini kitchen, someone had gone through them all. From the look of it, the same was probably true of the development room. Suzuha glanced over all the areas where she kept her guns. Closest was the sofa that she used as a bed. She'd wanted to have one easily available if she was attacked while she slept, so she had cut out the back of one of the sofa cushions and hidden a suppressed semi-automatic pistol in it. It was just a .32 caliber for self-defense, so it wouldn't do much damage unless you had good aim, but it was small and relatively quiet, which made it the best choice for a place like this. Suzuha tensed all of her muscles, quailing like a spring, and slowly moved toward the sofa without making a sound. As she did, she tried to notice any changes in the surrounding area. There was a small sound in the development room. It was a tiny, tiny creaking of the floor, to which you'd usually pay no mind. But that was more than enough for Suzuha. In an instant, she moved from quiet to action. She cleared the distance to the sofa in a single movement and quickly drew her gun. She held it ready and slipped into the shadow of the refrigerator. From this position, she could barely see into the development room. Oh, my back's cramping up. The room became silent again. But this time, the intruder in the other room didn't try to hide their presence.
おかしな真似をしたら撃つ。手を頭の上に。そのままゆっくり出てこい。
Suzuha threatened the intruder in a low voice, but the intruder seemed completely unconcerned, as they exposed themselves to Suzuha's gaze.
この暑いのによくそんな格好をしていられるな。ヘルメットだけでも取ったらどうだ？
The intruder was wearing a motorcycle suit, just like before. Even the helmet was the same. The leather suit clung tight to their skin, revealing a voluptuous and perfectly proportioned body. It was clearly a woman.
あんたが探してるものだけどね。そこにはないよ。私の服のポケットだ。
Suzuha pointed toward the entrance to the shower room. The shirt she'd just taken off was lying there on the floor. The girl in the motorcycle suit had turned her head, but because the face mask was down, Suzuha couldn't read her expression.
なあ、落としたらダメじゃないか。ママからもらった大切なものだろ、かがり。
The second she spoke, Shina Kagari was the first to move. She drew a deglossed military knife that she must have been hiding behind her back, then closed the gap between herself and Suzuha in an instant. Suzuha pointed the gun at her legs and pulled the trigger, carefully aiming away from her vitals. She heard the small pop of a suppressed 32 and saw Kagari lose her balance and fall. Or she thought she did, but it was a feint. She only pretended to lose her balance. In fact, she changed directions and was heading for the shower room. It seemed her first goal was to get what she'd come for.
これは
After firing only one shot, Suzuha realized even a 32 should have more recoil than this. She fired again, but Kagari didn't flinch even for a moment.
ブランクカートリッジ、どうして？
At some point, all the bullets in Suzuha's gun had been swapped out with blanks. That instant's panic was all it took. Kagari reached out for the shirt on the floor in front of the shower room.
この
Suzuha gave up on firing and flung the gun at Kagari. That's fucking badass. Like, shit, my gun is useless. Or is it? Fuck it. There was a full dud as the hard barrel slammed into her neck. Caught off balance, she staggered before she could grab the shirt. She could hear Kagari's voice for the first time from within the helmet. Suzuha jumped. She kicked the off-balance Kagari as hard as she could with her toned, muscled legs. This was no time to hold back. Kagari went flying all the way to the edge of the room. That had to have broken a few ribs. Suzuha jumped toward her to continue her attack. But with a terrifying speed, Kagari leapt off the ground and charged at Suzuha. There wasn't enough time to come to a full stop. A sharp blade swept by, mere centimeters from her exposed abdomen. If she'd pulled back even a few tenths of a second later, the knife would have fatally sliced open her gut.
Oh my!
The blood rushed to Suzuha's head. Kagari was serious. She was planning to kill her. There was no hesitation in her movements. Suzuha leapt back and searched for something she could use as a weapon. The other guns were probably no different. There was a good chance they'd all had their ammo swapped with blanks too. It was even possible that all her self-defense knives had been taken too. Which left... There were several knives carefully stored in the kitchen. Yuki had brought them over to use in teaching the other girls how to cook. Kagari had evidently noticed them as well, and she was moving to keep Suzuha from reaching them.
へえ、ずいぶん離れしてるじゃないか。とてもマシンの中でベソベソ泣いてた子供とは思えないな。驚いたよ。
Suzuha kept her distance from Kagari as she slowly moved along the wall. Her competitive drive burned even brighter as she tried to come up with a way to overcome her disadvantage.
ほら、カガリ、これだろ。
She picked up her shirt from in front of the shower room and took the green keychain out of its pockets. I got her attention.
どうした？取りに来なよ。
Her Her fingers moved as if to crush it. She could see Kaguri twitch. For the first time, she could detect a hint of emotion beyond the helmet. And in an instant, she threw it at Kaguri's stomach. The keychain flew in a slow arc, like she was tossing it to a friend. If something they loved was thrown like that, even the fiercest warrior would instinctively reach out both hands to grab it. Kaguri was no exception. She carefully held her mother's memento in both her empty left hand and the right hand that still clutched the knife. Using the slow arc of the keychain as camouflage, Suzuha ran at her in a straight line. Her right fist connected hard with Kaguri's stomach. I am back. I think I fixed it. I think the hum is gone. If you tell me the hum is still there, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be honest, I've been paranoid this entire time. Thank you for the confirmation. It's a buzz, not a hum. It's the same fucking... It's... You know what I meant. And her left arm smashed Kaguri's head to the side. Kaguri's body fell to the ground, her right shoulder taking the brunt of the fall. Suzuha could hear the sound of her joint dislocating. I know what the difference between the words are. I get it. Tone deaf camel. That's certainly a creative way to put that. I get the difference. But you know what I meant. The knife slipped from her grasp. Suzuha got behind her and mounted her, twisting her right arm mercilessly. At the same time, she slipped her own left arm around Kaguri's neck and squeezed hard. That's fair. It is true. Let's not be weird about it. Let's be normal, shall we? She could hear something like a moan from Kaguri's throat. She could both hear and feel the bones in her arm and neck creaking.
おとなしくしろ。殺しはしない。
But Kaguri picked up the knife off the floor with her left hand and once again tried to use it on Suzuha. Suzuha was forced to squeeze her arm and neck even harder.
もうやめろ、カガリ。今の私にはお前の気持ちだってわかるんだ。でもやっぱりそれは間違ってる。間違ってるんだ。
Yeah, consistency. I don't want to talk about it. It's not important. Don't worry about it. You're focusing on the wrong things. But Kaguri didn't stop. If anything, she tried even harder to pull Suzuha away.
こいつ一体どんな訓練を受けてきたんだ。
Even in all the battles she'd been in, this much pressure on two different spots was enough to get even the toughest soldier to submit or fall unconscious. Terrified, Suzuha squeezed even harder. That's fair. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. At this rate, she wouldn't simply knock her out. She really would kill Kaguri. But if she stopped, Kaguri would kill her. What should she do? Oh, that's fucking dirty. That's some dirty tactics. And then she heard a sad, weak voice from inside the helmet. It startled her. And she relaxed both her arms. But that was just what Kaguri had hoped for. The knife came very close to cutting Suzuha's left arm. When she let go to dodge it, Kaguri shook her off and kicked at her hips with both legs. Suzuha was slammed back hard into the computer desk, and for a moment she couldn't breathe. She fell to the floor, and the printer and monitor crashed mercilessly into her naked body. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the same scene from the other chapter, that other ending, but it still gives me fucking goosebumps. 3D printer. She forced herself to stand up, grasping hard as she did so. Kaguri's breathing was heavy, too. Her right arm was pointed in an impossible direction and hanging limp. She wouldn't be able to use it for a while, probably. But her left arm was still holding the knife.
お前、随分と汚い真似まで覚えたんだな。
Fucked up, Kaguri. That was real fucked up of you. Suzuha glared at Kaguri's face. Not that she could see what it looked like beyond the helmet. The two of them fell silent as they tried to catch their breath. The tension in the air was so thick that it was difficult to move a muscle. Sweat rolled down her forehead and into her eye, but she still didn't blink as she waited for Kaguri to make her next move. It was the sound of the front door opening that broke their stalemate.
Oi, Suzuha! 今すごい音しなかった?
Suzuha felt a chill run down her spine when she heard Itaru's voice.
あれ? なんで真っ暗なん?
Oh, god damn it, Daru, your fucking timing is shit.
ダメだ、父さん。来ちゃダメ。
She yelled at the exact same instant he turned on the lights. The sudden brightness was enough to make Suzuha flinch for an instant. Kaguri was wearing a full-face helmet, and that made all the difference. She leapt toward Itaru for just a moment before Suzuha. I'm telling you, she needs the fucking Sialoom Saber. Get that fucking Star Wars shit. Sorry, Spark Wars. Kaguri's black knife went up to his throat. I'm sorry, did you say smoke bomb? That is future gadget number 4, Moed Snake. And don't stab Daru. I will have you know. Kaguri spun around behind him, using Itaru's huge body as a shield. Suzuha staggered toward him, gritting her teeth.
その手を離せ。Kaguri. 父さんに傷一つでも負わせてみろ。たとえお前でも本当に殺す。
Dude, when her voice gets serious, is scary. Daru was, yeah, that's true. It's very true. But Kaguri remained silent as she headed outside the door with her hostage. And then in the next moment, she shoved him forward. Right, seriously. Itaru lost his balance and fell toward Suzuha. Suzuha fell to the ground underneath his weight. Itaru just barely managed to support himself with his arms and legs to keep from crushing her. Seriously. Suzuha tried to shove him off, using a little more force than she may have intended. But Itaru was so huge, it would take him a moment to get up. Rude! She was getting away. Yeah. She somehow managed to crawl out from under him, and quickly tried to follow after Kaguri.
Suzuha, これ来て!
Itaru was still lying on the ground as he tossed the naked Suzuha her shirt. Listen, we've already been through that one. We don't need to relive. We know who gets powered up when Mayuri dies. But when she looked around the street, the girl in the motorcycle leathers wasn't there. There was no way to even know where she'd gone.
逃げられた。
It would be dangerous to run around trying to find her now. That's true. I mean, you're not wrong. There was a chance Itaru would be attacked while she wasn't at the lab.
今のってまさかかがりたん？
Itaru came outside as well.
多分間違いない。
そっか。
結局あの子とはこうなっちゃうんだな。
Bruises and wounds were bad enough, but the pain that ached in her heart was the worst of all.
私さ、あの子のこと本当に好きだったんだ。
Susan, don't make me cry.
うん。
小さくても勇敢で、まゆ姉さんを守るためにいつも頑張ってて、私もそんなあの子にいろいろなことを教えた。きっと妹みたいに思ってた。
うん。
けどあいつはもう完全に敵だ。
Itaru straightened up her shirt sleeves.
今の鈴葉、なんかエロゲーの地上キャラっぽい格好になってるよ。
Oh my god, Daru, your fucking timing is so bad. God damn it. For fuck's sake, Daru. I mean, like, he's not wrong to point out the fact that she's not wearing pants, but he points it out in the worst way possible and at the worst time possible. Like, he's not wrong. She's not wearing pants.
Huh?
Like, maybe get her back inside. Get her fucking clothes on, but that's very funny. God damn it. Suzuha was completely caught completely off guard. True, her t-shirt only came down to just below her hips, roughly the length of a miniskirt. Her breasts were almost completely bared. Oh no. The shirt's hem was turned up, and she felt exposed.
まあ僕は地上物も結構いける口なんで、乱れた裸 T シャツというのもありといえばありですが、むふー。
Daru, go away, please. Daru, can you please go away forever, please? I need
ま
you to
た
go
そうやっ
away.
てふざける。大怪我してたかもしれないのに。
But Itaru shook his head.
僕さっきはナイフ見て騒いじゃったけど、でも怖がる必要なかったんじゃないかなって。あれがもし僕の聞き間違いじゃなかったら。
Yep, don't never forget. Itaru rubbed the part of his neck where the knife blade was.
ナイフを突きつけられてた時、ほんの少しだけど聞こえたんだよ。
何が？
彼女、多分泣いてた。
え？
Crying? Under that helmet? After that whole battle with Suzuha? While holding a knife to Itaru's neck? But why? You know why, Suzuha.
だからさ、
Don't be dumb.
決めつけるのはまだ早いんじゃね？
Oh, you got it. Nice. Well done. Congratulations on the trophy.
父さん、
の？
アイス買ってきてくれた？バニラ。
ああ、もちろん。
食べたいな。私ちょっと疲れちゃった。
Yeah, I imagine you are. And then she almost fell forward.
で、
Itaru managed to catch her before she hit the ground.
おい、鈴葉。
ごめん。平気。でも、少しだけ休ませて。
Get this woman a upa cushion and a blanket stat. I demand it. That was all she had the energy to say. She closed her eyes in her dad's arms, and her consciousness melted away. Hey, smiling for once. Cool. When July came, the sun shone down even harder on eastern Japan. Summer was truly here. The news had been saying for days that the heat island effect might make this the hottest summer in years. And then, on the first Sunday in July, everybody the goat. I'm telling no, for me, my goat it's Maho. Mayuri is just the best. She's the sweetest. She's my sweetest bean, but Maho's the goat for me. The arrivals lobby at the international terminal of Narita Airport was filled with foreigners and Japanese passengers returning home. As your favorites, I will repeat them until the day I die. Thank you very much. I will never let it not be known that I love these characters so much. Speaking of Mayuri, me and my mom finally got to episode 12. You know the one. So that's been fun. We just finished episode 14 today, so. I scream whenever you see her. I do not scream every time I see her. Just sometimes.
日曜日の空港を侮ってたにゃ。
見逃すなよ、マユリ、フェリス。なんせ相手は。
It's not every time. That is not true. It is most of the time. The three of us were waiting for someone here. Oh, it better be who I think it is. Sorry, I can't go today. Oh. You had something to do, it's alright. Having a lot of people around would just be bother Hiajo-san. I'm gonna go with... You had something to do, it's alright. It is not every time you lie. You lie. I hope I can see Maho-san before she leaves. I'll ask her how long she's staying and contact you later. Thank you. Oh, Luca. Also one of my favorites. We know this. I don't know why I'm saying it. Everybody knows. I love everybody. Historically honest. We've been there for almost an hour.
オカリン、今の問題発言は彼女に言いつけざるを得ないぞ。
I did get a little worried watching this with my mom, or watching Steins-Gate with my mom. There was one moment that really worried me. I think it was episode 13. She said, and I quote, "You're gonna know what part we were at when I say it." That, I'm astounded we got past that, but we did. No, it was like episode 13, and it was, she said, and I quote, "If someone pushes her into that train, I'm not watching anymore." And I just had to like... Fortunately, she continues to watch the show, so we're good. But I just had to straight face, just oh, is that so? Yep.
冗談だ、やめてくれ。
でも、なかなか来ないね。
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot about the Ruka part, and I just like, when I saw that, I realized it was about to happen, I just like tightened up, I was just like, oh god, no. Oh no. No! And then it happened, and then we somehow made it through.
やっぱりサプライズでこっそり出迎えようとしたのが間違いだったのかにゃ。
I think I just block it from my memory every once in a while. I just willfully forget that exists. Fucking pillow. I wanted to die. I think I cringed like 30 years off my life. Like, that's the thing, and I told her this after that episode. I turned to her and I said, even the most hardcore Steins Gate fans cringe their faces off at this point, whether it's the visual novel, whether it's the anime. It doesn't matter how much you love the show. If you've seen it once, if you've seen it 20 times, you will cringe your entire essence. You will just fold into a little into a puddle of cringe.
せめて何時の便で到着するのかぐらいは聞いておくべきだったな。
I just remember getting to that part in the visual novel. Like, I had to read all that shit. I mean, that's the thing. It's painful, and it's like, I just had to be like, he acts before he thinks, And it's just, yeah, oh man, having to read that is like, it was so much worse. We hadn't told her that we were coming to greet her. Anyways, back to Zero, the thing I'm playing right now. And so all we knew was that she was arriving at Narita on an afternoon flight. If I'd known we were going to have to wait so long, I would have tried to get the arrival time out of her. There was a stream of passengers flowing by us, but no sign of the person we were waiting for. Right, yeah, just like, I believe she said, "That's not what you do." I was like, yeah, you don't do that. Like, I don't care what timeline you're in. That's not correct behavior. That is not how we do this. Just as I was starting to wonder if we'd missed her because she was so small, she finally appeared. Don't say that. Yeah. That's, no bueno. Or more precisely, I saw a giant travel suitcase rolling all by itself away from the gate. And from behind it, I heard a voice I recognized. That's so fucking mean. This poor woman needs a fucking break. Give her a break. I walked up to the suitcase and gave it a pat.
Yeah, Joe-san.
Huh?
That's perfectly understandable. Best of luck with all that school stuffs. Maho had been leaning forward and pushing the suitcase as hard as she could. Her mouth hung open when she saw me.
久しぶり。無事入国できてよかったな。
Yeah, that's good to hear.
なんか随分やつれてるな。大丈夫か？
大丈夫に決まって。
I also hope that.
そうじゃないわ。どうしてここに？
今日の昼に来るって話してただろ。だから驚かせようと思って迎えに来たんだ。
そうなの？それはどうも。
For some reason, her voice became really weird the moment she saw me. Was my being here really that much of a surprise?
でも秋葉原駅までは行けるから改札口に迎えに来てくれればいいって言っておいたのに。
まあいいじゃないか。せっかくだし。それに君一人で本当に秋葉まで来られるか心配だったから。
Ow! Damn.
失礼ね。私はそんなに頼りなくないわ。
Dude, it's weird seeing Okabe so, like, chipper. Mayuri and Ferris came up well. As well. Fuck.
トゥ
Say it. Say it. Say it.
てる会いたかったにゃー、マホにゃー。
As Mayuri grabbed Maho's hand, Ferris walked up and gave her a big hug.
マユリさんもフェイリスさんもお久しぶり。二人もわざわざ迎えに来てくれたのね。ありがとう。ちなみにこんな場所で大声でマホニャンと呼ぶのはやめてくれないかしら。
にゃんでかわいいのに。
周りを見なさい。みんなが笑っているでしょ。恥ずかしいのよ。
うにゃそうかにゃ。
Ferris really sticks out after all. While we'd been waiting here, all the foreigners had been pointing at her and yelling, "Cat ears! Cat ears!" Some had even asked for pictures.
ヤジョさん、荷物俺が持とう。
Which she almost certainly granted, like, with gusto.
ありがとう。
でも結構急な来日だったよな。
It was only a few days ago that I'd found out she was coming.
今回もレスキネン教授の手伝いなのか？
その
Ma was fidgeting and glancing up at me.
岡部さんはレスキネン教授とはよく連絡を取り合っているの？
ああ、教授ずっとこっちで研究を続けてるだろ。時々食事に誘ってもらったりしてるんだ。すごく光栄だよ。
そう。まずいわね。
まずい？何が？
ああ、いえ、こっちの話よ。
Dude, subtle. Subtle, Maho. You're killing it. Really was acting weird. She wasn't like this the last time I saw her in winter. That's close enough, I suppose. Was she tired from her trip? Or was seeing us here that much of a surprise?
今回は教授の手伝いではないの。沖縄の親類のところへ行く予定なのよ。でもせっかくだからその前に秋葉原にも寄ってみようかと思って。
そうか、沖縄か。
For a moment, the name of that place brought back visions of that nightmarish time. After I collapsed on Christmas, I was sent to another world line where I'd spent a month fleeing to Okinawa.
いいね沖縄。一度でいいから行ってみたいな。マユシーの学校は修学旅行は沖縄じゃないのにゃ。マユシーのところはね、北海道だったよ。フェイリスはハワイにゃ。うわー、海外だ。アロハ。
Aloha! Putting aside the girls and their talk of school trips,
じゃあヒアジョーさんは東京にはそんなにいられないのか。残念だな。
そうね、そういうことになるわね。
秋葉原にいる間のホテルとかは決めてあるのかにゃ。
まだよ。これから安いビジネスホテルでも探すつもり。
だったらこのままフェイリスのお家に来るといいにゃ。この前のお部屋自由に使ってもらって構わないにゃ。
でもそんなの悪いわ。
またそうやって遠慮するんやから、フェイリスは大歓迎だにゃ。
don't worry nya about it.
だけどそんなに甘えるわけには。
だったらこれでどうかにゃ。お部屋を無償で貸し出す代わりにフェイリスのお店でほんのちょっとだけお手伝いしてもらうのにゃ。
お店？
メイクインニャンニャンだね。
Agree. Do it.
まさかそれってあの猫耳のお店？その通りにゃ。この時期は猫耳メイドのみんなはコミマの準備でいろいろ忙しいのにゃ。お休み取りたいって泣きついてくるんだにゃ。つまり深刻な猫耳メイド不足なのにゃ。なのにゃ。というわけで、マフにゃん、どうかにゃ。どうかにゃ。お断りします。
Oh. 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 Alright.
なんで？
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
なんでって当たり前でしょ。私に似合うわけないわ。似合うよ。絶対に可愛いと思うな、マユシーは。意義なしだにゃ。オカリンもそう思うにゃ。
ああ、きっとファンがつくんじゃないか。
ファンなんてそんな。お世辞は嫌いよ。
別にお世辞じゃないんだけどな。
だとしたら
It's just true.
視力検査にでも行ってくることね。にゃにゃ、赤くなったにゃ。なってません。マホニャンはもっと自分の魅力に気づくべきだと思うにゃ。
マユシーが男の子だったらキュンってしちゃうのです。
だからそんなことないと言ってるのに。
ヒアジョーさんは多分もうちょっとなんというかおしゃれとかしてみたらいいんじゃないかな。そうすればもっとこう。
I was trying my best to sound encouraging, but just ended up sounding like a real jerk. Of course, she was annoyed.
私は今のままで十分よ。研究が第一なんだから。でもそれじゃあ好きな人とかできたらどうするのにゃ。相手に気持ちを伝えられなくて困っちゃうにゃ。
I don't agree with that reasoning, Ferris. I'm just gonna say. I don't agree with your reasoning.
大丈夫よ。そういう人なんてできないと思うから困ったりしないわ。
She gave a sigh that was a little too deliberate.
ごめんなさい。時差ボケと飛行機の疲れでちょっと。わかるにゃ。時差ボケって結構辛いんだにゃ。リムジンを用意してあるからマフニャンは眠っていくといいにゃ。リムジン？
Ferris had rented a white limo to pick up Maho. Sheesh, she really did go overboard. But thanks to that, Mayuri and I were able to enjoy its big, comfy seats on the way to Narita Airport.
なんならフェイリスが膝枕してあげるにゃ。それともマユシーの膝がいいかにゃ。
マユシーは OK だよ。
結構よ。子供じゃあるまいし。
でも傍目から見てもだいぶ疲れてるってわかるな。そんなに研究が忙しいのか。
それはまあ掛け持ちしているわけだから。
掛け持ちというとアマデウス以外にも何かやっているのか。
あ、
She quickly put her hand over her mouth.
それは企業秘密なの。
It was true that American University Labs had a lot of stuff that was going on, like that going on there. I'd heard there were a lot of industrial spies. If she wasn't careful about what she said, she might get fired, or worse. It was a mistake on my part to even ask.
そういえば
芦田さんは今日はどうしたの？
あいつなら今日は人生をかけた大事な用があってな。
人生をかけた？
Please tell me he's on a date with Yuki, please. That would be
ダ
so
ル君
perfect.
は今デート中なんだよ。
Glorious. Maho's shock was almost comical.
私本当に疲れているのね。ひどい幻聴を聞いたわ。
Damn. You don't gotta do my boy like that. I mean, I know he sucks a lot.
いや、そう思うのも無理ないが。
本当にデートなのです。信じられない。嘘でしょ？あの変態が。
Even Maho was calling him a pervert. I mean, but is she wrong though? Haru had said he was talking to Maho a lot too, and I could just imagine what their conversations were like. But actually, if Daru didn't do his best today, it would ruin the world's entire chain of causality. In that sense, Daru's date today was an event with universe-spanning implications. About half the seats at Go-Go Curry were full. It was Sunday, but it was also after 2 p.m., and so the lunchtime rush was over. Suzuha was sitting at the restaurant's far edge, a baseball cap pulled down over her face. She was hiding her face with the cap and carefully watching a couple sitting nearby.
お待ちどうさま、メジャーカレーです。
Oh. A cheerful employee put down 2 giant silver plates, or trays more accurately, in front of them. Suzuha could see the other customers looking at them and whispering. The couple really stood out after all. The man was a giant who looked like he ate major curry all the time, but the woman was slim and pretty, and looked very kind. The combination of huge man and slim woman was as unbalanced as the combination of pretty girl and major curry. Major curry was big, it was huge. Suzuha knew from experience. Massive silver trays were loaded with rice and curry, and topped with 2 fried cutlets, fried shrimp, sausage, a boiled egg, and a mountain of cabbage. Fuck, I'm hungry now! You can't do this to me, Suzuha! I want this! I'm like actually hungry now. There was 2 or 3 times as much curry as you'd find on a normal dish, and the toppings were just as big. Even a growing young boy would find it hard to eat them all. Suzuha was irritated.
一体なんで初デートの昼食がメジャーカレーなんだよ、お父さん。
The Beauty and the Beast couple that Suzuha was watching, of course, was Itaru and Yuki. In the morning, they'd gone to see a movie in Yurakucho, and they'd come to Akihabara and gone straight to Go-Go Curry. Suzuha had followed them the whole time. That's why she couldn't believe Itaru's choice of date spots.
私はゴーゴーカレーでも全く問題ないけど、というかむしろ好きな方だけど、せっかくの初デートなんだからもうちょっと他に選択肢もあるだろう。
Jesus Christ, Suzuha! Let them live their goddamn lives, woman! She clutched her spoon tight and gritted her teeth. Suzuha knew next to nothing about Japanese youth culture in 2011, and even she knew it was a bad idea. Who knew what was going through Yuki's mind? Or so Suzuha thought. But...
うわー、写真よりもすごいですね。
Surprisingly, Yuki was ignoring the people around her and innocently enjoying the huge curry.
天音氏、もし食べきれなかったら、僕が食べてあげるですから。はい、
ありがとうございます。けど、これでも私、結構いけるんですよ。
そうですか。びっくりですよ。
実はいつもお店の外でメニューだけ見てて一度食べてみたかったんですよね。連れてきてもらえて嬉しいです。
それは実に良かったですよ。
お
Suzuha had evidently worried over nothing, but still she realized that Itaru was acting strangely. Ever since he'd come out of the movie theater, he was walking and talking strangely. Instead of his usual hunched posture, he was forcing himself to stand up straight. His every movement seemed oddly forced, as if he were a broken robot. And he downed glass after glass of water.
あ、ごめんなさい。私にもお水のおかわりを。
はいはい、どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。
Itaru poured water into Yuki's cup. Suzuha had a bad feeling. And she was right. Itaru was moving so awkwardly that he almost spilled water on her hand.
大丈夫ですか？
ええ、ちょっと手が濡れただけですから。それより早く食べましょう。
Yuki quickly wiped down the table with her handkerchief and grabbed her fork and spoon. There were stars in her eyes.
それじゃあ、いただきます。
いただきます。
Yuki seemed to be really enjoying her meal, but Itaru was very formal and quiet. He was taking little nibbles out of a piece of fried cutlet, like a squirrel eating a nut. The whole time, they weren't saying a word.
一体何をやってるんだ父さんは。あんなんじゃ母さんに愛想つかされちゃうよ。
She decided to send him a message on Rhyme telling him to get his act together, and she'd just taken out her phone when...
はい、メジャーカレールーマシーお待たせしました。
A huge plate was laid on the table in front of her. The other customer started murmuring again. Come to think of it, when she'd followed them into the store, she'd ordered her usual, major curry with extra roux, and then forgotten about it. Now everybody was going to focus on her. In a small shop like this, it was suicide.
あら？
Oh, good job, dummy. His fucking face, dude. Just as she expected, her eyes met Yuki's.
鈴葉さん、いたんですか？偶然だね、ゆきさん、兄さん。声かけてくれればよかったのに。いや、気がつかなかったんだよ、全然。
Oh, I'm so hungry now. my poor tummy. She realized that she should probably leave, but she couldn't go without at least taking a bite of the major curry in front of her. Her experiences in the war had left her completely unable to waste food. She felt Yuki and Itaru staring at her as she reluctantly picked up her spoon.
とまあ、そういうことなんで、二人ともごゆっくり。
Her only choice was to finish her extra-large curry as soon as possible. She couldn't let herself be in the way. But instead, Yuki came over and picked up Suzuha's plate.
すみません、店員さん。お友達なんですけど、席を移ってもいいでしょうか。
はい、どうぞ。
OK ですって。一緒に食べましょうよ。ちょっと、なんでって、ほら、鈴葉さんもメジャーカレーじゃないですか。これはぜひ勝負せねばと思って。はあ？審判は橋田さんにやってもらいましょう。
And before Suzuha could respond, Yuki had moved her plate over to their table.
いや、
She had no choice but to follow, but before she sat down, she whispered in Yuki's ear.
デート中なんだよね。そうです。デート中です。改めて言われると照れますね。
Itaru didn't react at all, even though she was sure he'd overheard that.
私デートとかしたことないから詳しくないんだけどさ、デート中に他の女とカレーの早食い対決したりするもんなの？さあ、どうでしょう。でもほら、アニメとかコミックスとかにそういうのありません？お兄ちゃんを取られたくない妹が彼女さんに向かって勝負だみたいなの。
That's so funny. For some reason, Yuki seemed incredibly enthused. Suzuha was overwhelmed by her energy.
知らないってば。そういうものなの？兄さん。
But even when she turned to Itaru for help, he just awkwardly sat there, eating his curry like a robot.
兄さん？
He awkwardly turned his head to face her. The rest of him stayed completely still.
なんか言った。
Oh, he's busted.
どうしたのさ？なんかおかしいよ。
どうもしてないお。おかしくないお。
He's gone. We lost Aro. He's gone. Suzuha glanced back at Yuki. And for the first time, Yuki looked concerned. In the end, Yuki and Suzuha did have their curry eating contest, and surprisingly, both of them completely finished their meals. Suzuha won by a very small margin, but the battle was exciting enough that not only the other customers, but the staff as well, were applauding at the end. But the whole time, Itaru kept eating by himself. Since this wasn't even a conversation, let alone a date, she sent Itaru home alone. Part of her wanted to demand Itaru explain himself right now, but she decided to talk to Yuki instead. She tried her best to avoid Yuki so far, in order to keep her identity a secret, but it was July now. He would be gone from this era very soon. This might be her last chance to talk to Yuki at all.
鈴葉さんがいてくれて助かりました。
Yuki sighed a little after Itaru left.
私、もしかしたら気に障るようなことをしちゃったのかもしれません。橋田さん、私といてもあんまり楽しくないみたいだったから。単に緊張してただけじゃないかな。でも映画を見る前は楽しそうにお話ししてくれてたんですよ。それが映画の後はすっかりよそよそしくなってしまって、私何か間違っちゃったのかな。カレー屋さんに連れて行ってもらったのも私のリクエストだったんですけど、ずっとあの調子だったからさすがにちょっと困ってしまって、それで偶然お店にいた鈴葉さんに助けを求めたというわけです。
What had happened inside the theater? Suzuha hadn't followed them inside. He'd spent about 2 hours killing time outside.
あのさ、
It's honestly surprising that she didn't follow him inside. I totally see her just buying a ticket.
ゆきさんはなんで兄さんのこと好きになったの？
Privacy? What at?
いや、私が言うのもなんだけど、あんまりモテるタイプじゃないじゃん、兄さんって。鈴葉さんはお兄さんのことどう思います？私？好きですか？嫌いですか？好きですよね。見ていればわかります。まあ、
There were parts of him that she didn't like. But of course, she loved her dad.
って私のことは別にどうでもいいじゃないか。それでゆきさんは？私はまだ好きかどうかもよくわからないです。 そっか。
Not only had Itaru not told Yuki he liked her, this was still their first date, and they hadn't spoken that much before either. She hadn't even reached the point where she saw him as the member of the opposite sex. For almost a year, Suzuha had stayed with him, and she, Mayuri, and Ferris had done everything they could to get the two of them together. There hadn't been any real progress. Suzuha felt uneasy when she thought about the future. Maybe her dad wouldn't be her dad anymore. Maybe her mom wouldn't be her mom anymore. Dad and mom wouldn't be together. She imagined that future.
そんなの嫌だ。
She looked straight into Yuki's eyes.
私さ、もうすぐここからいなくなるんだ。え？ちょっと遠いところに引っ越すんだよね。そうなんですか？多分戻ってこないと思う。心配なんだ。父さん、兄さんのこと。
Fucking... Like, you'd think at this point she'd at least be, like, somewhat practiced.
だからさ、ユキさん。こんなこと、私が頼むのもおかしな話なんだけど。
And then she bowed deeply.
橋田至を、よろしくお願いします。
There was no answer from Yuki. Suzuha looked up, afraid, and tried to gauge the expression on her face. She looked kind of lonely, and kind of sad.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね。
Yuki whispered, and then Suzuha...
もうどうするんだよ。これじゃ破局の危機だよ。まだ始まってもいないけど。
As soon as she got back to the lab, she yelled at her useless father.
うおー、すずはごめんな。箸だけはもうダメなんだお。
しょぼくれてるんじゃない。シャレじゃ済まないんだ。とりあえず今日はなんであんな態度を取ったのかしっかり説明して。今朝出かける時はあんなに楽しそうだったじゃないか。母さんだって映画の途中までは普通だったって言ってたし。一体何があったの？
いや、それがさ、聞いてくれよ。映画の座席って狭いじゃん。だから僕、天音氏の邪魔にならないようにと思ってできるだけ椅子の端っこに寄って座ってたんだよね。そしたら椅子がベキっていって壊れそうになって、で慌てて体を支えようとして肘掛けを掴んだんだけど、それが肘掛けじゃなくて天音氏のその
そんなこと母さん一言も言ってなかったけど。
嘘じゃないよ。あの柔らかい感触は肘掛けのはずがない。女の子の手に決まってる。
そう。
ただ僕、女の子と手をつなぐなんて2次元ならともかく3次元じゃほとんど経験なくて。
Oh my god, Dario.
それでどうしたの？
天音氏優しいからさ、僕を傷つけないようにと思ったのか、その手を振りほどかないんだお。僕ってこの体型じゃん。手汗とかかきまくりじゃん。ベッタベッタになるわけじゃん。なのに天音氏何にも言わずそのままで、なんかそれからすごく意識するようになっちゃって。
ああ、なるほどね。それであんなにポンコツになってたのか。
天主もきっと心の中でキモいうざい話せ変態って思ってたに違いないよ。
母さんはそんな人間じゃないよ。
In fact, from the way she was acting, she probably thought she'd upset him somehow. The problem was what she'd said.
私はどうしたいんでしょうね。
What did she mean by that?
母さんがわからない。
鈴葉、こうなったら母さんのことは諦めて僕と二人で仲良く生きていこう。
言ってることがめちゃくちゃだよ。そもそも私はどうやって生まれてくればいいんだ。
でも無理だって。
父さんが頑張らないでどうするの？このピンチをチャンスに変えるんだよ。
She grabbed her father by the collar and shook him.
出ないと。
She remembered how sad Yuki had looked when they'd said goodbye.
出ないと取り返しがつかないことになるよ。
ですよね。
And then she heard a car park in front of the lab. She recognized the voice coming from below the open window.
お、フェイリスさんの声じゃね？
Suzuha let go of Itaru's collar and moved over to the window. Below, she saw a group of people she knew. Okabe Rintaro, Shina Mayuri, Ferris Nyanyan, and Hyajo Maho, too.
ヒヤジョウさん、もう到着してたのか。でもなんでオカリンおじさんたちと一緒なんだろう。
And then she gave a start and turned back toward the room.
まずいよ、それ出しっぱなし。
え？
Suzuha pointed toward the desk in the development room, where the phone wave, named subject to change Unit 02, was sitting.
あ、やばいやばい、覚醒。
オキドキ。
Idage! If nothing else, this meant that Hyajo Maho was coming to the future gadget lab. Suzuha hoped that this meant the work on the phone wave named subject to change would get back on track. I love that they're still fucking calling it that. It will always be, oh, there's that. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day. I fixed the microphone. We're good. Yay! I'm no longer filled with rage and hate. Jesus Christ. Well, this seems like a great place to end. Alright, cool. See you later. Yeah, I fixed the microphone. Yay! Hopefully it doesn't fucking eat itself again. I don't know. That was weird and infuriating. Surely nothing like that will ever happen again. Bye.